The phone was ringing. Not just ringing, screaming through the empty house. David froze in the doorway, staring at the old landline phone on the kitchen wall. It shouldn't have been working. There was no service connected, no power in the house. He had checked that himself. Yet the phone rang anyway. Ring, ring, ring. Each sound echoed through the hollow rooms, sharp and angry, like the house was shouting at him to listen. David slowly stepped inside, his flashlight shaking in his hand. Dust floated in the air, thick and gray. The house smelled old, like damp wood and forgotten things. The phone kept ringing. His heart pounded so hard it hurt. "Hello," he whispered, even though he hadn't picked it up yet. The ringing stopped. For one quiet second, the house felt completely still. Then the phone rang again. David swallowed and reached for it. The cord was cracked and yellow, stiff with age. He lifted the receiver and pressed it to his ear. "Hello." Static filled the line at first. Loud, hissing. Then a voice came through. Low, calm, close. "Why did you come back?" David's blood ran cold. The voice sounded like it was right behind him. He spun around, flashlight swinging wildly across the kitchen. Empty. No one there. "Who is this?" he said, his voice shaking. "How are you calling this number?" The line crackled again. "You're standing where she stood," the voice said. David's legs felt weak. "This house is empty," he said. "Everyone knows that." The voice paused. "No," it replied softly. "It isn't." The line went dead. The phone slipped from David's hand and slammed against the wall, hanging there, silent again. His breathing was fast and shallow. He backed away slowly, his eyes scanning the shadows. That was when he heard footsteps. Upstairs. Slow. Careful. Step. Pause. Step. David's heart nearly stopped. 2 hours earlier, he had believed this would be easy. David was a real estate inspector, hired to check abandoned properties before sale. This house on Willow Lane had been empty for years. No owners. No renters. No visitors. People in town avoided it, but no one could explain why. "It's just creepy," his boss had said. "Old place. Probably animals." David didn't believe in ghost stories. He believed in wiring problems, broken pipes, and bad rumors. That belief was starting to crack. When he first arrived, the house looked normal enough. 2 stories, white paint peeling off the walls, windows dark and dusty, the front door unlocked easily. Too easily. Inside, the house felt colder than it should have. Not just cold air, cold presence. Like someone had just left the room but was still nearby. David shook it off and started his inspection. The living room was bare. No furniture. No decorations. Just old marks on the floor where things had once been. The kitchen was the same. Empty cabinets. Rusted sink. And the phone. He had noticed it right away. A landline phone on the wall, unplugged. David had laughed at himself. "Guess you're useless," he said, and moved on, until it rang. Now he stood frozen in the kitchen, staring at the silent phone, listening to the footsteps above him. "Hello," he called out. "Is someone here?" The footsteps stopped. Then came a sound that made his stomach twist. A chair dragging across the floor upstairs. David slowly backed toward the front door. His flashlight flickered. The house felt tighter now, like the walls were closing in. His phone buzzed in his pocket. Relief rushed through him. He pulled it out. No signal. But a missed call notification stared back at him. Missed call unknown number. The timestamp made his breath catch. 2 minutes ago. That was impossible. The call had come while he was holding the landline phone. David's hand trembled as another notification appeared. Incoming call unknown number. His phone started ringing. The sound echoed through the house. At the same time, upstairs, a door slammed shut. Hard. David answered the call without thinking. "Hello." The same calm voice answered. "I told you not to come back." David's chest tightened. "Back," he whispered. "I've never been here before." The voice chuckled softly. "Yes," it said, "you have." The line went silent. Then a new sound filled the house. The landline phone started ringing again. Upstairs, from inside the bedroom. David stared at the staircase as the ringing continued, loud and steady, calling him upward, step by step, and somewhere above him, something began walking toward the stairs. The ringing upstairs did not stop. It stayed steady and loud, like it was pulling David forward one step at a time. His feet felt heavy, but his body moved anyway, slow and unsure, toward the stairs. "I'm not going up there," he whispered to himself. But the sound kept calling. Ring, ring, ring. The staircase creaked as soon as he placed his foot on the first step. The sound echoed through the house, sharp and lonely. The ringing grew louder with each step, clearer now, coming from the end of the hallway above. David's flashlight shook in his hand. The light caught peeling wallpaper, old family photos still hanging on the walls. Every picture showed people smiling inside the house. A man and woman, a child, another family. All of their eyes had been scratched out. David's stomach turned. "This house is empty," he muttered again, weaker this time. He reached the top of the stairs. The hallway stretched out in front of him, long and narrow. The phone rang at the far end, inside the last bedroom on the right. The door was half open, moving slightly back and forth as if someone had just passed through. David took a step forward. The ringing stopped. The sudden silence was worse. Then the phone rang again right behind him. David spun around. The old landline phone was now sitting on a small table at the top of the stairs. The cord trailed down the steps, disappearing into the darkness below. "That's not possible," he whispered. The receiver lifted itself. Slowly, the phone stopped ringing. A voice came through, clear this time. No static. "You never should have answered." David dropped the flashlight. It clattered down the stairs, leaving him in near darkness, lit only by faint moonlight through a window. "What do you want?" he shouted. "Who are you?" The voice sighed, almost tired. "You know this house," it said. "You just don't remember yet." The bedroom door at the end of the hall creaked open wider. David felt a sharp pain in his head. Images flashed through his mind too fast to hold on to. Standing in this hallway before, arguing, crying, a phone ringing. "No," he said, grabbing his head. "I've never been here." The voice lowered. "Yes, David, you have." The bedroom light turned on. David froze. Inside the room was a bed, neatly made, covered in white sheets. A nightstand sat beside it. On the wall above the bed hung a calendar. The date was circled in red. Today's date. On the bed sat a phone. Ringing. David took a shaky step toward the room. "This is a trick," he whispered. "Just a sick trick." The phone stopped ringing. Then his own cell phone vibrated in his pocket. David slowly pulled it out and looked at the screen. "Incoming," called David. His breath caught. With shaking hands, he answered. "Hello." The voice on the line was his own. Panicked, crying. "Don't go upstairs," the voice begged. "If you hear the phone, don't answer it. Just leave." David's knees buckled. "What is this?" he whispered. The voice continued, rushing now. "The house doesn't let you leave once you remember. It makes you stay. It makes you answer." "Answer what?" David asked. The line went quiet. Then a whisper came through. "The last call." Behind him, the bedroom door slammed shut. David turned just in time to see the hallway lights flicker and die. The phone on the table rang again, louder than before, shaking the walls. Ring, ring, ring. The walls began to creak. The air grew colder, pressing in on him. David backed away, his shoulder hitting the railing. "No," he cried. "I'm leaving." He ran for the stairs. Halfway down, the house shifted. The steps stretched longer than they should have. The bottom moved farther away with every step. The phone rang from everywhere, now above him, below him, inside the walls. "Answer," the voice whispered all around him. "You always do." David reached the front door at last and threw it open. The outside was gone. No street, no sky, only darkness. The door slammed shut behind him. The house was silent again. David stood in the living room, breathing hard, tears running down his face. His phone buzzed one last time. Missed call, unknown number. The landline phone rang once, then stopped. The receiver lifted. David stared at it. knowing what would happen if he answered, knowing he already had. Slowly, against his will, he reached out and picked it up. "Hello," he whispered. The voice smiled. "Welcome back," it said. The lights went out, and the house finally remembered him.